Coming up on Top 5 of our UnifiedAtWork podcast show, we're on the job with Toby, Senior Vice President and Chief Customer Officer at United Airlines, and Jessica, Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at United Airlines. Tune in for an extraordinary conversation about unified employment taken off at United Airlines based on the groundbreaking global partnership with Special Olympics and United. Featuring behind-the-scenes stories and exclusive audio documentary from the global headquarters of the Friendly Sky. Part 5 is coming up right now on SpecialChronicles.com. Welcome back to our UnifiedAtWork show. My name is Daniel. I'm your host and founder of Special Chronicles, and a Southern Travel International Global Messenger of Special Olympics, and a Service Ambassador at United Airlines. Welcome to the UnifiedAtWork show on Special Chronicles. Toby and Jessica live from Polaris International Airport.
Thank you, Daniel.
Good morning. So glad to be here with you.
And it's exciting to have you both on the show. A brief programming note for our listeners. The UnifiedAtWork show is produced by the Special Chronicles Network. For 12 plus years, we have been producing groundbreaking and award-winning podcasts. We can respect and voice people with special needs. Listen to hundreds of podcasts hosted globally by thousands of listeners for free and on demand on SpecialChronicles.com and on podcast apps everywhere. The UnifiedAtWork show is produced in collaboration with United Airlines. United is Chicago's hometown airline and is a major legacy airline. United Airlines is a proud global partner of Special Olympics. Fly the Friendly Skies and book your travel today on United.com or the United app. And support the Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Join our supporters. We are currently raising $12,000 in celebration of a 12-year celebration. Please support this podcast at SpecialChronicles.com/give. That's SpecialChronicles.com/give. So first off, let's begin this live podcast from Polaris International Airport. We've got an awesome plane behind us. But why don't you both introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us about your brief backstory and job at United Airlines and your connection to our disability community. We'll begin with Jessica. And then
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. I'm Jessica KIMBROUGH. I'm our Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer. Been in the role since July of this year, and really excited about talking a little bit more with you today about an inclusion revolution, which is also something I'm charged with doing in my new role.
awesome.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel. First of all, thanks for having Jessica and I. It's a big honor, so really appreciate it. I've been in my role a little longer than Jessica. I've been with United for 24 years. I think I've had 10 different roles, so they don't really know what to do with me at United. But right now, I'm the Chief Customer Officer, which is a really exciting role. I think it's probably my favorite that I've had. I got a lot of passion for the customer, but that means that I get to work with several of great teams like the flight attendants, the contact center, customer care, customer experience, and obviously the catering and club teams. So, but another title that I have, which is the executive sponsor of Bridge. So I'm really excited about that. It's a great inclusive BRG, done a lot of good, as you know. So yeah. I'm just thrilled to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, a question that I usually end a lot of my shows with, but we're going to kick it off, is what does inclusion mean to both of you? And it's a big, in Special Olympics, it's big with our inclusion revolution, and it's big especially with the Polaris service ambassadors. But what does inclusion mean to both of you?
Should I go ahead and start? For me, inclusion is about really going out of our way to make sure that everyone, all people, feel respected, valued, and appreciated for everything that they bring to the table. And as I mentioned, that's a big part of my role coming into this role. I should have mentioned my full history with United. I joined in 2011, and I've seen us come a long way since I started in our legal department in 2011, moved over to labor relations in 2015, and have kind of tracked United's journey around diversity and inclusion all this time. And I've seen us really take big strides. I think we're ready to take it to the next level and really create a culture of even greater belonging and inclusion at United Airlines, where we have exactly that feeling of respect, value, and appreciation for all people.
Awesome. Yeah, I know definitely all 4 of us of the ambassadors feel exactly that when we come to work every day.
Awesome.
So for me, that was very well said, and you could tell who's the lawyer, so articulate. But for me, inclusion, every time I hear inclusion, and maybe I'm brainwashed, but every time I hear that word, I think about our shared purpose. And our shared purpose is, connecting people and uniting the world. And being such a global airline and different cultures and different people, I think it's just so important. We cannot become what we want to be without inclusion. And we're actually stronger. That's another thing that I've seen in my career. If everybody looks exactly like me and come from exactly the same thing, we're not as strong as when we have diverse opinions, and come from different things. And that's very important when we try to serve the world.
Awesome. Great answers, both of you. Our guests on the Unified Airwork show, Special Chronicles, Toby Jessica from United Airlines. Talk about now, as we get a little deeper into inclusion, talk about when you first heard about our inclusive or unified employment program of the full bus service ambassadors. Because we're coming up on October 28th, our 1-year anniversary. So talk about when you both heard about the 4 of us, and that now if anybody goes by gate C21, they will see all 4 of us. But
that's awesome.
But when you both heard about the 4 of us, what and what the original UA4 as we call ourselves. But tell us about when you guys both.
Yeah, happy to take out. I would say the best way to sum it up is proud. At the time, I would have been a year ago in my role in labor relations organization and also leading one of our BRGs, U Impact, our women's BRG. And so more of a spectator in the diversity and inclusion space at that point. But I felt a sense of pride that we were living into our shared purpose. And really, kind of this is what it looks like in action. And so I would have seen it on a United Daily story about a year ago, and just remember feeling a distinct sense of great pride working for a company that was leading in inclusion of people with all abilities.
And I spent a lot of times in the airport, so I actually kind of stumble on you. What you call yourself the original 4 out here at O'Hare last year. And again, like Jessica said, it just made me, you guys put a smile. I didn't have a mask on then, so it was the good old days. So you guys really put a big old smile on my face. And then like Jessica said, I felt like really proud of you, but also proud of our company. And again, like just really, really proud of what we were able to do together and seeing the smiles you guys are putting on our customers. And those are the small things. We talk about it all the time. Like, me having customer care, obviously we get a lot of complaints, but when we get compliments, you'd be surprised about how people literally write us letters and emails about the small things. Somebody just helped them, show them directions, gave them a smile, just listen to them and treated them as a human being. And nobody does that better than the original 4 out here at O'Hare. So thank you for that.
Thanks. Yeah, and we also feel proud also to be here. And that's one of the things that I like with always getting to know the other person's story. So, and even a lot of times we don't have a lot of time to talk with each customer that comes through the lobby, but we even just that small moment, I think, can make a big impact. Now we're going to switch gears and have you, Jessica, talk about the social impact of the inclusion revolution as it relates to special. So can you tell I'm used to doing podcasts about Special Olympics?
Yeah.
Talk about the social impact of the inclusion revolution as it relates to United Airlines.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that term. It's such a powerful way to talk about inclusion, and it rhymes, so that's a plus. The inclusion revolution is so powerful. And I like to think about it that way. People think of a revolution as like, a much grander, disruptive event, but I feel like small acts of empathy, and connection on just in our day-to-day lives is really what an inclusion revolution is about. And I love what it means for connecting people with all abilities. And beyond that, really, I feel like we can think about how, as we go about our daily lives, we can be more empathetic, be more inclusive of everyone on our teams, and as we serve our customers. And so I just think it's perfectly phrased, the inclusion revolution, and we want to be a part of that.
Awesome. And now, and we're proud that United is joining with us at Special Olympics, and even us at Special Chronicles to really be a true leader in the inclusion revolution. We'll switch gears now to you, Toby, and talk to us about how you see this inclusive or unified. A lot of times Special Olympics means from unified. It means inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So, Toby, talk to us about how you see this inclusive employment program benefiting the customer experience. You touched a little bit about it briefly, but maybe go a little bit more.
Yeah.
In depth.
We talked about how some of the small things really help to make that connection, that special little bond with the customer. It's also leading by example. And I think that, again, what I've always said out in the operation is that, you want to show people that you're real and treat people like you want to be treated. And again, I think that what Special Olympics has been able to do is to really show the way. And we've actually built some special modules and training programs around the Special Olympics program in the core 4. So that's how well you guys have done. So again, I don't even look at it as inclusion. It's just like leading by example and by including everyone.
That's awesome. Can you give a brief example of the core 4 of some of those trainings there?
Yeah, again, I think that one of my favorite one there is what we talked about before, is that I used to say this a little jokingly, but like God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, that you should listen twice as much as you talk. And I think that we again, like during the core 4 and some of those modules, we talk about how important it is to listen. Like again, if you go back to some of the things I told you about, some of the complaints, a lot of times it's just people not listening to each other and walking in that other person's shoe and understanding, because like somebody can come in and maybe not be the nicest person right away, but we don't know what they've gone through that day. There's a lot of reasons people are traveling, sometimes for the best points of our lives. We go on a vacation, go for a wedding. We also sometimes travel for really sad things. Like you maybe go through a divorce, you might go to a funeral. So again, like just having that understanding and listening and understanding, like maybe this person we can't do that now, needs a hug, but at least an ear to listen to. And I think that that's what you guys have done such a fantastic job of.
Awesome. Well, Jessica, right before we take a short sponsor break, talk to us about how this inclusive employment program benefits United's diversity inclusion mission goals. Because as you both know, October, in addition to being I don't know if you guys planned this a year ago, but with being National Disability Employment Awareness Month, I don't know if you guys plan to hire us during this month. It seems that it's kind of fitting. So maybe talk a little bit about that and really how the all-inclusive employment program benefits United's diversity and inclusion mission and goals.
It is fortunate timing. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but we've got it.
Yeah,
we've got it. Yes, exactly. A year ago, I totally thought of this. But I think it's a great example, this program, of what we stand for as a company. We've, for the 5th year in a row, been 100% at score on the Disability Equality Index, which we're very proud of. About a year ago, this program launched. Bridge launched about a year ago. And so we've already done some great things, and where we're headed and where we're focused. We've got 4 strategic focus areas, kind of 4 pillars of our future focus of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's around creating a culture that recognizes what diversity, equity, and inclusion means, and where we're all held accountable and have greater kind of awareness of those concepts, where we look more like the communities that we serve. We want to reflect the full diversity of all of the communities that we serve. And so that's about culture, about representation. The 3rd pillar is about equity and ensuring that as we develop and advance relationships with employees, communities, supplier partners, that we are being equitable in how we enter and advance those relationships. And then the 4th and final pillar is about our reputation. We want to be known as not only a leading airline, but a leading company in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this program hits on all 4 of those pillars really, and in each of the impact areas that we're focused on: our employees, our customers, our communities, and our suppliers. And so I think it's a great example of excellence and where we want to head with our DEI strategy.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk briefly about how this groundbreaking program benefits other companies, and talk about the travel experience and advice that you guys can share with other companies, and final thoughts. It's all coming up. We'll be right back after a brief message from our sponsor. On the Job with Toby and Jessica conversation continues after the break. You're listening to the Unified at Work show and the Special Chronicles show right here on specialchronicles.com. We'll be back after a 2-minute break from our sponsors. It most likely will be less than 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Don't hit pause. We'll be right back in less than 2 minutes. You're listening to the Special Chronicles show right here on specialchronicles.com. I am Daniel, founder of Special Chronicles and a Southern Tribal International Global Messenger, and a service with Special Olympics, and a service ambassador at United Airlines. Can you add any more titles? And joining me back is Jessica, Chief Inclusion, Equity, and Diversity. Did I
Yes,
get that right?
yes.
And Toby, Chief Customer Officer.
So we're testing you today.
Yeah, I know.
I thought we had long titles, but that's nothing compared to you.
Yeah. So let's, and even though I've got the notes in front of me, I don't have I can't really scroll up.
Oh, good. You
So,
did it.
Jessica, how does this groundbreaking inclusive employment program benefit other companies? To learn more about the amazing and incredible job United is doing with the Full Blast Service Ambassadors, we talked a lot about how it's groundbreaking, and that's something that we really discovered a year ago with, I know, being asked being asked to apply for this opportunity. We like myself and my dad and my family, like, we didn't know a lot going into this. So tell us, and so which makes, we didn't know like exactly how groundbreaking this program is going to be. So share with us, how is this groundbreaking inclusive employment program, how can this benefit other companies to learn from, because you mentioned leading the way.
Yes.
So how can other companies learn from this groundbreaking work?
I think it's really an example that the service ambassadors and United Airlines are showing other companies that it can be done. And not every program is going to look just like United Airlines program, but I think every employer can make an effort to find the right jobs and fit it with people with the right abilities, and give them the tools to succeed and really fully contribute at their highest level on behalf of whatever that company's specific mission and purpose is. Here at United, I think we're about connecting people and uniting the world, and our service ambassadors are on board for that mission and kind of boots on the ground doing it every day. So thanks for everything you do.
Awesome. Thank you. And Toby, can you share with us what United is doing to make travel experience more inclusive and accessible for people with disabilities? We talk a lot about inclusion and accessibility, but how can share with us what United is doing with the travel experience?
I think what we've done is we really are changing and redefining accessibility from the inside out, thanks to you guys. So what, it's easy to kind of do it top down, and again, like, I've been in the industry for almost 25 years. So I think a lot of companies sometimes make the mistake is that they think that they know everything. And what I've seen is that every time I have a meeting with you or anybody else, I learn something. I'm almost 6'3", and when I take the travel journey, it might be different than some other people. And again, if we're going to connecting, uniting the world and connecting people, we have to be able to serve everyone. Old, sick, healthy, challenged, non-challenged. So who else is better to kind of from the inside out take us through that journey and make sure that we are serving everyone, because that's our mission. So again, I think that's what makes us different, and we even taken it so far that we also work with what we call the ATAB, the Accessibility Travel Advisory Board, and they help us out too. They can be our sounding board, because even us here, we only, right here in O'Hare, we only have 4 of you, right? So there could be even more input, and we run stuff by them and bounce off to make sure that again, like we are inclusive to everyone.
Awesome. And as we come to a close with two final segments, I guess. And the first is for both of you is share advice and expert tips that you can give other companies on creating similar inclusive employment programs. Jessica, you talked about it. It's not gonna look just like the four of us.
Yeah.
But because and I think that a lot of that speaks to each of all intellectual disabilities, from me to Lauren to Kyle to Z, is each of us is different.
Yeah.
And we each have different abilities, different types. And I think that kind of maybe also speaks to this program as well. So share with us, for both of you, we'll begin with you, Jessica, and then go to you, Toby, and share with us your expert tips on that you can give to other companies. Hopefully, when we put this podcast out, when we share a link to it on Twitter, maybe we can tag some other companies that they can listen to this. And
think about where it fits into your mission, right? And like depends on the size and the scale of the company and what it is that they're delivering in terms of goods or service. But there must be roles. Maybe it's one role, depending if it's a smaller company, larger company. Maybe it's even more than we've done here at United. But there are different jobs for people with different disabilities, intellectual disabilities, physical disabilities. And so how can, within your mission, within your kind of existing structure, you carve out, work that you hire for a broader range of people with all abilities? I think it's very achievable. I think we're showing how it can be done here at United.
Awesome. And Toby, briefly, and
sure.
And then we'll get you some final thoughts.
Great.
I think what you were saying, I think makes a lot of sense to me. I think that we were always evolving. One of the teams that I was part of for a while was CIEO, and they talk a lot about continuous improvement. And I think, again, for us to reach where we want to go, and we got some pretty gaudy goals. I mean, we don't only want to be the best, airline. We want to be the best airline in aviation history. And to do that, we got to continue to improve. We got to continue to evolve. And this is just the beginning. And we got to include everybody to take on that journey.
Awesome. We've got just a few short minutes left. Share with us any final thoughts on your overall time here today on the UnifiedAtWork show and the Special Chronicles show right here on specialchronicles.com.
Yeah.
Share with our listeners.
I would say thank you. I really, want to sincerely thank you for your leadership. And I'd love to see more podcasts and more leaders kind of stepping up and speaking up on behalf of themselves and their communities. I think it's a great example that you're setting. And if we kind of do more of this at United, it just gets us there to that greater culture of belonging and inclusion. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and all the BRG leaders and Jessica, all the great DIE team, what they're doing. And I can just tell you this, I think culture is a word that gets kicked around quite a bit, but it's so important. And I also think that it's easy, and I've been on a lot of sports teams, and it's actually pretty easy to be on a team when you're winning. Yeah. And when you never have anything go against you, people are pretty friendly and like it. But like when we have tough times, that's when the culture really, really matters. And as you guys know, we've been really, really hit hard with this pandemic. And again, having this culture, having this trust with our people from different background and inclusion, being one team, working to get everybody back to where we belong, which is on top, that makes a lot of sense to me. So thank you for having us, and thanks for being such a great asset for United.
Awesome, and I'm glad that we're united together and that we'll work together on a team to get through this global pandemic. So listeners, you can specialchronicles.com is the place to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Be sure to also subscribe to our podcast there, and remember to rate, review, and follow us to be notified of new episodes that drop weekly, like the kids say, drop weekly. Right here on the Special Chronicles Network, your source of finding joy, acceptance, and inclusion. Give respect and voice to people with special needs. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode. I've enjoyed talking with both of you. Our guests have been Toby, Senior Vice President and Chief Customer Officer, and Jessica, Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer at United Airlines. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode as a part of our Unified at Work series.